Welcome to Fifth Dimensional Life, Mass Human Awakening. I'm Lise, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to talk about sexuality, pronouns, genders, and how they fit into God's creation, extraterrestrials, and even more. So throughout my life, like in my early life, I went to Catholic school. My parents were super Christian. The even the conversation about sexuality or being bisexual, gay, or any of the other different genders or sexualities, they that was like a no-go zone. It was very looked down upon. I was not even to ask questions about it. And to a certain point, I was programmed to think that was wrong or that was bad, to have a different type of identity, or even trying to discover that about yourself was like, no, you can't do that, it's blasphemy, you're going to go to hell, like all that BS. And really, the church didn't want people to discover that, because that is a way of finding our identity, our true power within us. There's so much amazing things that comes out of discovering your own sexuality and your own identity. And even in the chakra system, the root chakra, our base, and as well as our what is it, the the orange one, the not the solar plexus. I should look this up here. Chakra system. So we can end up holding so much guilt in our lower chakras, the pleasure center chakras. Trying to find a good picture of it here. Sacral chakra. Putting fear mongering or guilt, shame, lowers your vibration. It keeps you stuck in these lower 2D, 3D type timelines and dimensions. You're not able to, if you have so much shame and fear and guilt, you are literally stuck. You're tethered down into these lower energies, and you're not able to easily clear that karma and the trauma, to be able to level yourself up to get into the fourth dimensional heart center chakra, 5D, and up into being fully activated, beautiful human that is both masculine and feminine. Guess what? We have both genders within every one of us. We have our masculine side of us, which is the right side of the body. It's the taking, it's the doing side. We have the feminine side in the left side of our body, which is the giving, the empathy, the loving, the nurturing side. We have both of them divinely created in all of us. And all of the new types of sexualities and genders, I feel like this is our pathway into discovering our full, true human nature, of that these identities that have been programmed into us are nothing. Those are control systems that have kept us tethered down through fear and guilt and shame. It's kept us in that lower vibration on purpose, so that we can ascend, and we're easily controlled by malevolent beings or dark shadow governments. We actually have way, way, way more higher chakras. For years, like, I had issues with my ears. I was diagnosed with vestibular neuritis. I was having these crazy dizzy spells all the time. It ended up being my ear chakras were just opening up, and I was fighting it. I had no idea, right? Who knew about ear chakras? I had no idea. We have so many more of them as well. And this all ties into our energetic body, our nervous system. There's so many more things to discover about ourselves. But when you are in these lower vibrations, you're not able to consciously um, bring your awareness to these other centers. And now there's like this huge movement of many more genders coming out. It seems like there's more and more and more coming out all the time. And so many people are completely throwing away the religious and guilt around it, or like the social cultural norms around this. And I'm so for the movement of exploring and changing genders. It's something that I came across probably 15, maybe 20 years ago, is that when there are overpopulation issues, and that can be, there's not enough room, or there's more fear, or there's illness or sicknesses or anything like that, in certain types of animal groups, the rate of homosexuality or non-gender or multi-gender, those rates increase in animals as well as humans. There's many, I think there's over 30 different types of mammals. At least there's probably way more than that, the rates of their gender switching or sexual preference switches like divinely. This is something that is innate. God created us within it. In a lot of ways, people who are homosexual or non-binary, they are actually like helping save humanity and helping progress humanity. I know there's a lot of mixed emotions, mixed feelings on these topics because of our original programming. And now we are literally undoing that programming, and that God created us with this, like within us, this ability to have different genders or switch our genders. And, in certain ways we could say like that this is saving humanity. It's helping us. So I just wanted to put that out there and have you ponder that. Have you ask that question to yourself and to other people. What are your thoughts on this? Another thing, especially with the pronouns that are becoming very prevalent. I've been on business meetings in the past year, so lots of business meetings, and people are putting their pronouns on their Zoom name. And I find it so fascinating that all of a sudden, we're going through this mass ascension, and all of a sudden that pronouns are becoming very, very important to people, which is a wonderful thing for helping us figure out our identities and who we are, to really question the systems, the programming that's been in place. But also it's preparing us for communication and contact with higher dimensional beings or extraterrestrial beings, because they are very, very proper when it comes to how they introduce themselves, how they communicate with other people. It's really, really important for people to pronounce their names properly, people to pronounce their species properly, people to understand how to communicate with them properly. So if we don't even really know our true identity, or if we're programmed with a certain identity that's not even truly ours, how are we supposed to make that contact with higher dimensional beings that have such a defined identity or a defined purpose, or they just know all about all of the different dimensions? This is a bridge to figuring those things out, to figuring out our true identity and what we truly love about our life and what we don't like, so we can move on to those higher timelines and choose, be in the driver's seat of really choosing our true identities. And I feel like this is is brewing to a point, like a culmination point of us realizing that we are co-creators. We have God within us. We're co-creating our reality all the time, and that we all have masculine and feminine in us. And that's on a big spectrum. And I don't see it as like a left and a right side. I see it as like, there's also the top and the lower side. So we have divine masculine and divine feminine, and we also have the lower sides of that, toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. And you want to be at a point where you are on the higher divine side, but also like in the middle where you are really harnessing your true divinity of both genders within yourself. And it doesn't mean you have to dress differently or, have your hair different. You do you figure out what your true identity is, like go on that journey of figuring it out. And I feel like this is a huge movement to push humans to really question who they are. Who are you? Why are you like that? Why are you dressed like that? Why do you have your hair like that? Why are you attracted to this type of person and not that type of person? And long ago, I knew I was really attracted to people who had a different type of intelligence or higher intelligence to them. And I realized that there's sapiosexual. I figured out, wow, I am a sapiosexual, where the person is attracted to an individual for their intelligence. And I found myself dating a guy who I wasn't totally physically attracted to him, but I was so attracted to his intelligence. Like I was just like awestruck of just the way he spoke and the different philosophies that he came up with. But there's multiple levels of how we are attracted to certain people. We also have our soul contracts, our soulmate contracts. All of those things come into play. But I know that each relationship that you have, even if it's very small or long, you learn so much from that person, and those interactions are meant to be, and they're there so you can progress your soul, whether it is a horrible, difficult, painful experience. Those are the ones that you can learn the most out of, whether compared to the ones that are like happy-go-lucky and you just part ways and you're like, okay, bye. You can take a bit away from those, but the ones that are really, really intense, yeah, you can progress your soul the most, because when things get uncomfortable, you have to change yourself or change the situation and not be with that person anymore. So but then I also realized that, hey, I am very attracted to males. I'm not physically attracted to females, even though I can find a female very beautiful and feel the compassion and the friendship from a female. I still am very much like a sapiosexual, but like I love being in my divine femininity power. When I'm in my business, work, I am very masculine. When I take on certain projects, when I lead people into different projects, I've had a lot of men tell me that I am the most masculine woman, like pretty woman, that they've ever encountered. And a lot of that also can go into like play into astrology. I have Mars in, I can't even remember, I think in my Venus, which ends up making your house of love or your passion and your business or something very masculine kind of driven. And you need to be aware of those things. So like if they get out of balance and end up becoming like a toxic masculine or toxic feminine thing, you need to acknowledge that, become conscious of it, and bring it into a loving divine awareness of it, and counter it maybe with like some divine feminine activities to counter the male toxicity, or divine, um, just heightening your awareness of these things and really getting into what your true sexual nature is. There's a ton of power that we can pull from our sexual organs, from our lower chakra system. The more you can root in positively through your chakra system, the higher you can go up to higher dimensions. So it's incredibly important to figure out your true gender, your true sexual nature, all of those things, and heal any trauma that you have, heal your sexual trauma. This is like your money, your power, how you make sense of a lot of things in the world. And there's been a whole lot of heavy programming to keep you out of alignment. And so we need to undo all of the programming, all of the things that we thought or we were told by teachers, by parents. We need to start undoing a lot of that. And that's really getting into like asking yourself questions, and healing yourself, healing your inner child, so you can clear that energy, and then really focus in on grounding yourself through your chakra system and into the center sun, so you can level up your consciousness and level up your energy centers. So yeah, I would love to hear your perspective on this as well, what you've discovered about your identities. Oh yes, I also wanted to talk about onking. This is something I learned from Elizabeth April, which was super interesting. So the onk, I don't know if I spelled it properly. Maybe it's like this, onk. It is from Egyptian times. Oh, I'm just butchering this. Egyptian. So this is oneself completion. Here, let's find a proper definition of it. But this is the Ankh. And then with religion, they detached this circle. And this circle is really important because it's like our connection with ourself. And anyways, onking, as described with Elizabeth April, is that when you have an orgasm, you can actually channel that energy back into your heart center and help heal yourself. So even through your own sexuality and pleasure, you can do body healing, you can do chakra healing, healing your trauma from this lifetime as well as other past lifetimes as well, which is absolutely amazing, especially when you have a loving partner, or even, whatever your relationship style is, just having that loving feeling, whether that's with yourself or with another person or multiple people. It's such a beautiful thing. And this is really us stepping into the point of our own power as well. Like the cross with Jesus, there's, quite a few different, there's a lot of like different explanations through that. But one of them is that this was like cut off, and this was the Ankh was supposed to be hidden from humanity, so we wouldn't realize that we can use this for healing, and for the power to end up going out somewhere else out of us, rather than us being able to channel it within us. So I find that absolutely fascinating. And yeah, I would love to hear from you about all of this and what your thoughts are on it as well. I find it such an amazing discussion too, because it is really changing so much right now, and it's evolving with us as we evolve as humanity, and really get to understand our true human nature and our different bodies as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.